Welcome back into Josh and Swain Halfway Home. Sports Talk will take over at 3 o'clock. The glass breaks. That means we welcome to the show Austin Price, Volquest.com. He joins us every week thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. Volquest now part of the On3 network. Austin, how are you today?
I'm great, guys. How are you?
Doing well. Busy, I know, with everything that's going on since joining On3 a week ago. Know you guys are fired up for you, and appreciate the time, as always. What do you think about this matchup as you transition from what you saw one game, it's Ball State, all those qualifiers. Now Tennessee gets ready for its first real test, if you want to call it that, a Power 5 game at Pitt.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a much tougher game for Tennessee coming up on Saturday at 3:30, and I think we learned that Tennessee's mature enough to handle a game like Ball State, win the way you're supposed to win, 59-10. Outside of that, I'm not sure what else we learned. I don't think Tennessee's, field goal kicking situation, which was kind of iffy in fall camp, was settled Saturday. I don't think Tennessee's left tackle situation was settled Saturday. Tennessee didn't get any kind of really solid pass rush, but that's because, in my opinion, because Ball State got it out of their hands quick. They rolled the pocket. They tried to do little things to keep, Tennessee off the quarterback. So, what happens this week against a Pitt team that, loves to run the football? Yes, Slovis is going to play action pass it, but I think they're going to be in the pocket a little bit more with slower developing plays than, Ball State had. And then on the other flip side, can Pitt's defense, which has been solid, under Pat Narduzzi, because that's what, he is, the defensive-minded coach, is it better in game two? Because I thought they were very, very susceptible to giving up some plays and some points last week against West Virginia. Tennessee, obviously, that fits right into what they want to do.
We're talking to Austin Price, Volquest.com. He joins us thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs every week here on Josh and Swain. And the pass rush, trying to get after Keaton Slovis. The no-sack stat has been talked about a lot over the last several days. But what do you make of that effort, what you saw from Byron Young, and then Joshua Josephs? Last week you said watch for this guy, and we saw him pretty early in the game. I imagine he factors in pretty early this week too.
Yeah, I don't know if he plays as many snaps this week, but I think he'll have a part of the game plan. But, yeah, I think, that's going to really tell the tale. Like, West Virginia was able to get to Slovis, sacked him 5 times. They hurt him several times. Can Tennessee do that as well? Again, I think the way Pitt wants to play offense, you're going to have more opportunities because Slovis is going to be back in the pocket a lot more with slower developing plays. I don't think they're going to, try to get it out of his hands so fast compared to what Ball State did. So, yeah, I think that's going to be a huge key in this game because I think if Tennessee gets pressure on Slovis, then obviously that helps the back end out and, I think can help the overall defense early and often.
I saw where on Tennessee's football Twitter account they were able to point at all the freshman players that got in versus Ball State. From your time talking to recruits over the last couple of days, how important was it for them seeing that Tennessee was playing those freshmen early in the season?
I mean, I think it's important. I think, proof's in the pudding. Go, how much do they play this week? How much do they play, a month from now? I mean, it's easy to play them now when you can play them in 4 games and still redshirt them. But I mean, I get it. I mean, it's all a sales pitch, right? But how much is, Dylan Sampson, Josh Josephs, Elijah Herring, how much are those guys playing, in meaningful games and meaningful snaps? I think that'll really be the telltale sign to prove, hey, you come in, you're good enough, you're going to play in these big games, not just the blowouts. You're going to play in the games that matter. And so, Tennessee's smart, though, to use that to their advantage. Again, it's all about recruiting, and coaches were out there out on the recruiting trail Friday, watching a bunch of high school games, including Coach Heifel, who was down in Chattanooga and then was over in North Carolina, and would expect them to be back out probably maybe even next week before they play Akron.
Austin Price, Volquest.com here on Josh and Swain. I know Tennessee played against Ball State first game, and I'm pretty sure everyone graded out very, very well. Who are you looking at as someone or multiple people that maybe didn't come out and play as well as they wanted to, that may have a great opportunity to come out against Pittsburgh and kind of redeem themselves and play a lot better?
Well, you hope that's Warren Burrell. You know, I expect him to get challenged early and often. I mean, the last few teams at the end of last year picked on him. I thought Ball State, had more targets on him than they did the rest of the DBs the other night. I'd expect Pitt to do the same and see how much he can rise to the challenge. I think the coaching staff has, been pushing him all week in practice, and I think they're trying to build up the confidence. I think sometimes it becomes a mental thing, especially for corners. I know everybody says, hey man, just snap and clear, and do one play and just move on to the next. But that's easier said than done. And so I think for him, if he can make a couple of plays early to get the confidence going. Jonathan Wade talked about that with us on Sunday night in our Rocky Top Rewind show on our YouTube page. Is like how Coach Slade said, you just need that one play. It's almost like the basketball shooter that's in a slump. You just need to see it go through the hoop one time. You need that one play if you're Warren Burrell, and maybe that'll get the confidence rolling.
Austin Price is with us, Volquest.com, joins us thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. Maybe it's a position group you've kind of hit on, but within the game, is there a matchup when you talk about keys this week? Is there something Tennessee versus Pitt that will interest you the most going into the game?
I think it's Tennessee's offensive line versus Pitt's defensive line. Can Tennessee, do a nice job of keeping a clean pocket? That's kind of where I would go with, the matchup that I'm kind of watching for, because if Hendon Hooker is upright and Tennessee's able to run the ball, I mean, West Virginia ran for almost 6 yards a carry last week, almost 200 yards. If Tennessee can run to that kind of success, I think it could be a long day for Pitt's defense.
How surprised were you that Brew looked like, he'd been here a lot longer than just a few weeks, few months. He looked like he was very, very comfortable. How surprised were you considering, getting a chance to see him the first week of fall camp, and he looked like a fish out of water a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. You got to remember now, Brew is someone, who, has been here for a month, pro. But, he had some emotions running last week as well. So, I mean, think about it. I mean, heck, a few weeks ago he wasn't even eligible, and he knew it. I mean, he knew he was going through practices, wondering, am I going to be good to go? Am I going to get to play? And, so I think the emotions were flowing for him. I expect him to be better and better. I mean, he showed in just his couple of catches, what kind of ability he has with the ability to fight off, tacklers and yards after contact. I expect him to really have a nice game Saturday. If you were saying, give me somebody who you think is going to play well Saturday, I think Brew McCoy is at the top of the list.
Love it.
Hey, Austin, you know that there's always the fun reaction after one weekend of college football. Florida gets a win against Utah. The next night, LSU doesn't look so good against Florida State. Are your thoughts on either of those games, Florida and LSU, which will be back-to-back for Tennessee with a bye week in between, are they affected at all based on what you saw last weekend?
No, because, I mean, it's one weekend. It's kind of like anything that happened with Tennessee last Thursday night. It's like Tennessee didn't get in the back, but they get sacked. Okay, let's see what happens against Pitt. If that's a recurring problem, then obviously there's something to that. But, what happens if they go out and Tennessee gets 4.5 sacks Saturday? Is everybody going to go, they're back? No, it just means that Ball State was doing things to kind of keep Tennessee out of the backfield. The same thing here. I think Anthony Richardson's really good. I think if you keep him in the pocket and you make him throw it, he's good, not great. And so I think Tennessee's got to tackle well in that game. But obviously, Florida jumped high in the polls, or 12 or whatever it is. If they beat Pitt or if they beat Kentucky this weekend, then they're probably going to be a top 10 team coming in here in 2 weeks. There's a real positive to that. I mean, I know Florida comes in fat and happy as a top 10 team, but if you beat them, there's a rub, right? You get the rub of beating a top 10 team. Now, are they top 10? I don't know. I mean, was Utah really 7 last week? I mean, I think preseason polls are, a bunch of nothing. Jason, you played on a team that was preseason ranked 3rd in 2005, and you went 5 and 6. There's just some things you can't account for in the preseason that decides a mental makeup of a team or alters a team's success or failures. I mean, Michigan wasn't in the top 25 a year ago. They made the college football playoff. So I don't really buy into the whole preseason poll thing a whole lot. We'll get about 3-4 weeks in, then we'll decide who the top 25 teams are. And then LSU, I mean, Jaden Daniels is a playmaker, but, I mean, I would just sit back there and make him throw it to beat you. I don't think he throws it well enough he's going to beat anybody. That seems like an LSU team that we've seen for years and years and years, minus the Joe Burrow years, except for defensively. I don't think they're near as good as they've been in years past.
A couple guys didn't play in the first game. Do you think those guys will play in this game against Pittsburgh, Austin?
I do not see D. Williams playing. He's got a bit of a shoulder deal. And then, Coach Heupel's been non-committal on Juju Mitchell. I wouldn't bet any money on Juju Mitchell playing Saturday. That's kind of been my stance since last weekend. I'll stick with it. I think he's back sooner rather than later, but, I'd probably target Akron before I'd target this week. But that's just me.
All right.
Austin, just so you know, I think Swain had just forgotten the 05 season, and then your reminder reset that memory clock. So
yeah, hey, the problem is Austin said preseason ranked number 3. It was actually number 2, which makes it even worse.
Whatever. Point is you weren't as good as everybody thought you were going to be in the preseason, and that goes for several teams over the years.
True.
That's why the first 2 or 3 weeks. You don't do a college football playoff, standings. You don't do a BCS standings until week 8, week 9.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it's just talk and let's see where Tennessee goes out and plays and see how they play Saturday against Pitt. And if they go out and get a win, then there'll be a 2-week build to Florida. And if they somehow win that one, there'll be a 2-week build to LSU. So, let's kind of see where they are after the month of September.
very good points. Austin Price, he joins us every week thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs, making it unique, making it special, making it just for you. They want to be your jeweler there at Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. Go check out Volquest.com, the new look, all the work that's going in as they've joined the On3 network. Austin Price and his colleagues getting it done. Hey, Austin, thank you for the time as always. We appreciate it. We'll check in with you again next week.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Austin Price joining us on the Stanley Fencing and Gates Hotline. Thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs making it happen.